On today's podcast, we sit down with Jeremy Yohai, a leading executive at Concord Music Publishing. Jeremy shares what it takes to sign the next great songwriter or artist, why longevity beats viral moments, and how the definition of success is changing in today's music business. We also dive into the realities of building a career from the ground up, the unique synergy between Concord's label and publishing divisions, and Jeremy's no-nonsense advice for aspiring creators trying to make their mark. Plus, how do artists get on his radar without a label deal, and what does it really mean to make it in the industry now? If you're serious about understanding today's music publishing landscape, this is one episode you don't want to miss. Insiders, are you ready? Welcome to MUBUTV's Music Business Insider Podcast, where our mission is to educate, empower, and engage artists and music business professionals who are dedicated to having a successful career in the new music industry. Here are your hosts, Rich Ezra and Eric Knight.
Welcome back, Insiders, to another episode of the MUBUTV Music Business Insider Podcast, where our mission is to educate, empower, and engage your music career. On today's episode, we're excited to welcome Jeremy Yohai, an accomplished executive currently at Concord Music Publishing. In our raw, unfiltered conversation, Jeremy shares his insight on what makes the current music landscape healthy, what he and his team are really looking for when signing new songwriters and artists, and why sustainability and longevity matter so much more than chasing the latest viral trend. We dive into the importance for aspiring songwriters and producers to create their own opportunities, the evolving definition of success in today's industry, and how to get on the radar of a major publisher like Concord Music Publishing, whether you have a record deal or not. Jeremy also opens up about the value of building genuine connections, power of self-promotion, and the untapped avenues that can fuel your career as an artist, songwriter, or producer. If you're looking for practical advice, an honest perspective on the current music business, and inspiration to keep pursuing your passion, no matter where you are on your journey, this episode is for you. You don't want to miss this deep dive with one of the leading voices in music publishing. But first, a word from our sponsor. Hey, Insiders! Are you an aspiring musician, artist, band, or future music business professional looking to take your career to the next level? Well, look no further. At MUBUTV, we offer personalized career counseling and coaching designed specifically for folks like you.
Imagine having both of us by your side, guiding you through every step of your music journey. Our sessions are tailored to meet your unique needs, focusing on critical aspects of your music career, such as refining your songs, defining your artist story, identifying your target audience, and enhancing your social media presence, just to name a few.
Whether you're just starting out or looking to elevate your existing career, we've got you covered. Our comprehensive approach ensures you get insights on everything from live shows to branding and marketing strategies. We understand that every artist is unique. That's why our coaching is personalized just for you.
And here's the best part. We offer flexible coaching packages that fit any budget. Choose from individual sessions ranging from 30 to 90 minutes, or save with our discounted 4-session packages. Experience custom sessions designed to enhance your music career, with opportunities for greater savings when you choose bundled sessions. Investing in your musical journey has never been more accessible.
Imagine the clarity and direction you'll gain after just one session. The feedback on your songs, the strategies to grow your audience, and the confidence to perform live, all tailored just for you.
So why wait? Don't let uncertainty hold you back. Join us for your free 15-minute discovery call at book.mubutv.com for a transformative coaching experience that will elevate your music career. That's book.mubutv.com.
Hi, this is Flannery Johnston, Senior Manager of TV, Film, and Advertising at Lyric House, and you're listening to the MUBUTV Music Business Insider Podcast.
Welcome back, Insiders. Today's featured guest is Jeremy Yohai, an accomplished executive currently at Concord Music Publishing. This, was an interesting conversation, Eric, on many levels. A lot of our insiders are songwriters who are looking to build careers for themselves as a songwriter, also as an artist. And it's important in these kinds of conversations because unlike A&R conversations, which strictly look for artists or bands, who are at the forefront of performing and being the artists themselves. Jeremy's world deals with people who you may never know.
Right.
The public doesn't know who Max Martin is, doesn't know who Benny Blanco is, doesn't know who, many of the Dr. Luke and many of these people, massive hit writers behind the scenes. But, everybody in the business, like Jeremy, does know. And so, it was very interesting. I thought one of the things that he spoke about, which was fascinating to me, was how you all, and we've spoken about this many times. I know Ari Herstand spoke about it first, which is the whole concept of everybody has their own definition of success.
Right.
And that's especially true today, where success is very personal. The definition varies. Some artists are driven by creative fulfillment, others seek major commercial achievements. So you have to decide that, for yourself today. And that was an interesting concept that, you don't often hear a lot of people always talk about. It's always like, everything's got to be number one, everything's got to be big, everything's got to be,
we don't live in that era anymore.
Exactly. We don't. And there's a lot of people who don't have that kind of visibility, but who still are very successful.
Right. One of the other areas that I loved about this conversation as well, too, was sustainability over hype. Rather than signing acts based on fleeting virality, Jeremy's team looks for potential to build a sustainable career over 10 or 15 years. And this is what you were getting back to earlier. Do you want that instant, wham, it's here? Or would you rather build a sustainable thing and climb that ladder slowly? I kind of choose the latter, no pun intended, because I think that that's ultimately what's going to sustain you through the highs and through the lows and keep you going long after your time of whatever success you've had that can carry you over to a long touring career, a long music career.
Yeah. And what's interesting about what you're saying, Eric, is that the marketplace agrees with you. I mean, when you look at Charlie XCX, I mean, she had, that success in the summer. I think it was with Brat.
Exactly.
Do you know, that's like her 6th album.
Right. And
Sabrina Carpenter, a new artist that just came about. Now, what most people don't know, this is her 6th album.
Right.
She had five albums that went nowhere. And now all 5 of those have come back.
Right.
There's now a catalog. I mean, I remember this when 50 Cent broke through with Into Club.
Right.
That became a massive, what most people didn't know
was he already had several releases.
He had 5 albums prior to that he owned.
Right.
And therefore there was a body of work there. So this often is going right to your point. It's the reality today that there is no such thing as an overnight success.
Right.
There is no such thing as you have that viral hit, and most people that do don't sustain.
And with that, insiders, sit back, relax, and enjoy our featured conversation from Muse Expo 2025 with Jeremy Yohai.
Jeremy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. I want to ask you, as an executive who's been in this business for a while, do you think we are in a healthy period for music right now?
I think that you'll get answers on both sides of that, depending on who you talk to.
Yeah.
And I try to just focus with blinders on and pay attention to the exciting music that's coming out. And if the music is exciting, then I think we're in a healthy period and still always finding exciting artists. And so my answer is I think it's a healthy period because people are creating great music. And if kids keep creating great music, then music will be fine.
Terrific. Well, it's good to hear that you're hearing good things and exciting things that you like creatively.
Mm-hmm. Always.
Okay.
Jeremy, thanks so much for joining us on the show. I wanted to ask you, would you discuss what you look for both creatively and non-creatively when looking to sign a new songwriter or artist to a publishing deal at Concord?
So my answer to that won't be what I'm looking for. It's going to be what I'm not looking for. I, myself, my team that I work with here in the U.S., we are looking for real artists, real songwriters, real producers that are in it for the sake of making great music for the foreseeable future and beyond. And I really believe that if that's what they're doing, then that's the business we want to be in. We're not looking for the thing that's going viral at the moment that doesn't seem sustainable, that doesn't have legs. Obviously, there's homes for those projects, and it might be a really exciting couple of weeks and months for those projects, but we're looking at it with the longer lens, I guess, and really wanting to build something with the writers and artists that, are looking to make great music for like 10, 15 years. And if you do that, that's a sustainable business. And if you have a magical moment or lightning in a bottle moment where things, really kind of change the trajectory of your career, then amazing. amazing. And if those things don't happen, then it's still a business that we want to be in. So I guess I answered your question in some way saying what we are looking for, but I approached it from what we're not looking for, which is just, and it's happening so much in the state of the music industry we're in now, where things are happening so quickly, where something's super hot, everyone gets excited about it, the numbers are going crazy, but is it sustainable? I'm not sure. And those are the things that we're not going to jump at. Some of them maybe, and maybe we'll miss a few, but we're really looking at the things that we think are going to be around for a while.
In your position, do new songwriters and producers need to create more opportunities for themselves before getting signed today, in your view?
More so today than in the past. I don't know if they're having to, but they have the ability to because of all the media outlets that they have, and from TikTok to Instagram to being able to get their music out through any kind of distribution method and have it on Spotify or SoundCloud or whatever it is. So I don't know if they need to, but they have the ability to. And if you have that access, then you should take those opportunities and really try to push yourself and help yourself get noticed and give yourself the leverage in the conversation with the industry versus, being this unknown quantity that maybe someone in the industry discovers. And then it's, they're just going to come in with a very heavy hand to say, okay, I'm going to sign you. And it's going to be a very aggressive deal versus you taking all the opportunities that are presented in this modern world and giving yourself leverage and leveling the playing field a little bit as far as the conversation, with the industry. So I don't know if they have to, but they should.
Okay.
And that's, that question can go on. And I talk to people artists that I work with or people that work at labels and artists feel like everything's falling on them now. They sign a record deal or a publishing deal and then they think that it's still on them to go out and promote these things on TikTok. And without that, the label's like, well, what do you want us to do? Or the publisher's saying, we can't help you if you're not helping yourself. Now, I think that, maybe there's some truth to that, but the artists are the ones who the fans are attracted to. And so there's a difference between my publishing company promoting an artist or an artist promoting themselves. The kids aren't excited to see my publishing company or the record label saying, this is great. They want to hear it from the artist, championing themselves because they're the X factor. They have the thing that the kids are excited about. It's not these corporations. It's the unique individuals. And so if you have those opportunities to promote yourself and use these platforms, you should do it.
Really quickly, Jeremy, at Concord, is there a willingness to signing artists or bands before they have a deal?
So signing them for a publishing deal before they have a record deal.
Yeah.
Sure. That doesn't make a difference to us. If we're excited about someone and there's no record deal, then great. We get to get very involved and help and really can be a part of that conversation to help find that home on the record side. And if they have a partner on the record side, then great also. It doesn't make a difference to us. We have no preference. Yeah, it's just, for us, it's all about the artist and what they're doing. I'm not so concerned about, what the label situation is, because if they're amazing or as amazing as we think they are, it's all going to fall into place anyway.
Interesting. Okay. Based on that, then, how does an artist or a songwriter get on your radar at Concord?
So there's the research way of things popping up across Spotify or TikTok or Instagram, this a lot of word of mouth. I still rely on that more than maybe anything is through, a friend or a songwriter or an artist that we work with or a manager we work with or a lawyer we work with or a friend at a label that's like, you guys should check this out. That is still, I think, a real strong basis of how we're signing things. I wish I could tell you and romanticize a story about me walking into a club one night, not knowing who's performing and signing someone off of that. That isn't happening very much. We're very much made aware of things through, I think, word of mouth and then things just kind of trending on socials.
Hey, insiders, we hope that you've been enjoying our featured conversation. Stay tuned because we've got so much value coming your way. But before we dive back in, a word from our sponsor.
Hey, Eric, as an artist, what do you find are the most challenging aspects to a music career, especially when you're starting out?
Well, I think one of the first things is just trying to get the direction of who you are as an artist, where you want to go, where you want to be. And, we've talked about it on the show a lot. Who is your target audience? Who you are? What do you stand for? What do you believe in? What do you think would resonate with an audience? And so those are some of the things that I would feel being a new artist. Obviously, what I know now is different because I know these things. But for people that are out there like our audience that don't have necessarily any direction to go would be the first things that I would start off with.
And having the song songs that
Absolutely.
incorporate those elements that you're speaking of into it. That's so important today.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the reasons why we started MUBUTV and why we started this new consulting service that we're offering to all of our insiders out there, because that is another one of the big things. I mean, that is the big thing, is like having the great songs. That's what it really starts off. Our friend Don Grierson always said, it always starts with a great song. So that's probably, besides putting together what your audience and what your target audience is the single most important thing. Where are your songs at currently today? Are you collaborating with people? Are you trying to go out to networking events where you can connect with other songwriters and stuff like that? So
yeah, and what are your strengths?
exactly.
You know, are you a strong lyric writer? Are you a strong melody writer? Are you a strong musician, a player?
Right.
You know, and it's really important to get really strong clarity on those issues before proceeding.
I totally agree, Rich. And, you know, with our consulting services, we offer a myriad of different packages and we've made it super affordable for everybody. So, you know, if you guys are interested out there in connecting with us on a coaching call, you can visit book.mubutv.com and start off with a free 15-minute discovery call.
Well, yeah, absolutely. There we start with an initial 15-minute call where we can get a sense of who you are, what are the issues that you specifically have and want to work on.
Exactly.
And we can go from there. Absolutely.
Yeah, and we tailor everything to your needs. It's not like a cookie cutter thing. We kind of really want to get to know who you are as an artist, where you at today, what's the snapshot of you as an artist today, and then start trying to craft something that's tailor-made for you. So again, if you're interested, visit us at book.mubutv.com for your 15-minute discovery call.
Hi, this is Fernando Gabriel, co-founder and CEO at Stream Music. Are you an insider? I am. Subscribe now.
Jeremy, has the definition of success changed or evolved over the last decade in the music business?
You know, I think that depends on the artist. You know, like I think some artists I work with are very happy to be creating the art they believe in. And if they're doing that and it's a business and they can sustain their lifestyle with that, then they're successful. There's other artists we work with that want all of it. You know, they want global domination. They want to be doing arenas. And until they get there, they're not going to feel like a success. And so I think that question really depends on who you're asking. We work with both kinds of people. And so I think that's the exciting thing about the roster we've built. We've built people that are in it for the sake of creating the art they believe in. And that's all that drives them. And then we work with artists that are driven to be as successful as the megastars that everyone talks about, you know, headlining festivals. And so it really depends, I think, on who you're asking. And we're excited about both.
Yeah.
You have, within your company, you have, unlike other publishers, you have both a publishing component and a significant label component. And I'm curious how that affects your job creatively. Do you have a good relationship with them? Do you guys creatively?
We have a great relationship. So there's a lot of communication between us and the label folks about things that they're excited about. You know, we're talking to them about our writers to help them with their projects. You know, we sign things together. We've got a few artists that are signed to us that are, you know, part Concord Publishing, part Loma Vista. Loma Vista is a label imprint under the Concord umbrella, and so we've had some successful signings out of that, and we work really great with those guys, and we have a lot of synergy with the way they approach music and how we approach it on the publishing side. And with the other labels also, you know, if they're excited about something, they'll tip us off, and maybe we go in on it together, or if they've got it on records, they'll refer us, and it's worked the other way with us, where we've signed things on publishing, and the record side was open, and we, you know, said, hey, you guys should take a meeting, and at that point, we're not going to be too pushy to our writer or artist, say, hey, sign to our record label also, but we're going to definitely make those introductions and see if it's the right fit, and if not, that's fine also. So there's a lot of synergy. I think I can't speak to other companies that have both sides, but it's been encouraged from day one from Concord. They want that synergy. They want to have the stories, and there's been quite a few where we've had a writer that's been signed to the publishing company that's put out a record on the record side, that has written a theatrical that the theatrical division has invested in, and has also talked to our film and TV production team about a project for film and TV production. And so that's like the writer that has touched all the different departments and intercompany kind of opportunities that can be presented with Concord, and that's something that's been very much pushed, and everyone's been very excited about those opportunities when we can kind of like create those kind of full circle moments for our writers.
Just out of curiosity, would that be like involving like the Ghost deal? Because I know Ghost is on Loma Vista, correct?
Well, Ghost is strictly signed to Concord on the record side.
On the record side,
yes, there's no other involvement.
Because I know they recently put out a film that he put out that Tobias had put. I didn't know if that was one of those touch points that you're talking about.
I can't remember offhand if that film was something that the Concord Film and TV production team was involved with. They may have been. I can't remember all the properties that they're involved with. But I'm not that involved in Ghost because it's not a publishing client.
Got it.
So I can't speak to that.
Got it. Okay. Jeremy, what advice would you have for someone who is committed to building a career as a professional songwriter, producer, or artist today?
I think, and this may sound like super idealistic, and I still like am a firm believer that if you're really good and you put yourself out there, then things will work out. If you're really good and you don't put yourself out there, it's not going to work out. And if you're not really good and you're putting yourself out there, it's probably not going to work out. So I think, believe in your talent if you think you have it and just keep pushing. I've worked with so many songwriters. I mean, yes, they had a publishing deal, and so that validates them to some point. They've made it, past, the first level of this thing, and so they got a publishing deal. But at that point, that's when the journey really begins. And there's a lot of writers who get publishing deals, and then 3-4 years later, I'm done with this thing. It's not working out. I'm going to go pursue a different career. And, there's other writers that kind of like hang on, even though they kind of feel that way. They keep pushing 5-10 years in, and all of a sudden, 12 years into their publishing deal or whatever, they have a moment, and it's a life-changing moment, and amazing things are happening. Either they discover an artist or they write a song that goes, and I kind of think of those guys as like guys who just never got jaded, really believed in themselves, kept going, knew that there was no other option, and just kept going. Yeah. And all of a sudden, they turn around, they're approaching 40 years old, and they've got a Grammy and maybe an Oscar on their shelf for hanging around and really plugging away and believing in themselves that these things were going to be realized. And so I guess my advice is, if you've got the goods and you know it and you feel like it's happening, just trust yourself, keep going. Keep pushing, make your network, build your network. It's not going to happen if you stay home. And like nowadays, going back to something we were talking about earlier, you can do this from your bedroom.
Yeah.
You can literally build a network out online. You can connect with all these other writers and producers. You can send ideas. Sure, you're going to send 20 ideas out. You may get one response. That's totally fine. Keep going. Send another 20. Send another 20. Get 5 responses. Build your network. Find those producers that you're fans of, or those writers, or those artists that you look up to. They may respond. It's happened. I know it. I've seen it happen with our writers. So you can't sit back and say, nothing's happening here. You got to take it into your own hands. And going back to that question you asked before about, do writers or artists have to do more? These are the things you can do. And then after you have these kind of connections, hopefully your publisher or your art or your label or your manager, whoever it is, can help really kind of connect the dots from there and help build, and then you're on your way.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've also heard, based on what you had just said, the reverse happening, where people started out as artists and it just never happened for them, but then they became very, very successful songwriters.
Yeah, happens all the time.
There's a lot of those in the business,
totally.
Who started and couldn't have a career as a success, but huge success.
Yeah.
Lots and lots and lots of hit songs.
And that's just really believing in yourself. And okay, it didn't work out here. There's another avenue. And you can become more successful than an artist and become public-facing songwriter or producer more so than you were ever going to be as an artist.
As an artist, yeah.
So those opportunities are right there.
Absolutely.
Jeremy, where can people best connect with you? Is it through Concord's website, socials? What's the best way?
So I am one of the maybe very few executives that's totally and completely not online and not on any socials. So yeah, the best way to find me would be to try to reach out through Concord and just get passed on that way.
You're off the grid.
I'm off the grid. It was never a deliberate. It was never a thought. It just kind of happened. And then I've been told so many times that, you made the right decision, and it was never I am not going to be on social.
Right.
Literally,
never deliberate.
Back in the day, I was on MySpace at one point, and then I remember when Facebook popped up, I was like, yeah, like there'll be another thing. And sure enough, there was, and it was Twitter, and I was like, yeah, I'll jump on that one. And then I was like, yeah, and then there was Instagram, and then TikTok, and I was just like, I don't need this in my life, and maybe I'm missing out on something, but I'm not sure if I really am. Aware of, I think,
Probably
most things.
not.
And if someone really wants to find me, like one of my artists or writers or a manager, they know where to get me. If there's something you want to share with me, I'm easy to find. I'm easy. Once we're working together, I'm very responsive. It's just I've just not in that space.
No, got it. Absolutely. I totally understand. There's a few of my friends that are completely not on social media that are in the business as well. Just not. I know of one music supervisor that all he has is an email.
Yeah.
That's it. Just nothing else. Just won't do that. Jeremy, we want to thank you so much
Yeah.
for coming by and
Jeremy.
doing this. We really, really appreciate it very, very much.
Thank you for having me.
So glad that we had Jeremy on.
Yeah,
I mean, Concord is a company that I have a lot of respect for.
absolutely.
They are like, I think, one of probably, I mean, if you look at them in the marketplace, they're like, I think the 5th largest music company in the world.
Yep.
There's the 3 majors of Universal, Sony, and Warner's. There's BMG, and then there's Concord. And they are doing amazing cutting edge things. One of the things that I thought, and this just comes from my own history,
Right.
but I think it's important for the insiders to pay attention to. One of the things that I thought was so interesting about this particular conversation was a point that he made about artists, in that, when you're signing artists, you're not looking to sign a talent necessarily that's going to be writing songs for everyone else out in the world.
Right.
They're doing it for themselves. And, for the longest time, a lot of music publishing companies, and still some today, some won't sign artists unless they have a record deal already, because they want some kind of outlet
Right.
for the deal.
Right.
In other words, if they sign an artist and there's no record deal, where are they to make money on the songs other
Exactly.
than maybe getting one placed in a sync or, and it's not something, and yet he spoke about the fact that it didn't matter if he was interested,
Because that could come later.
Exactly. But
Right.
that wasn't the consciousness before.
Before,
and I
right.
think that, because music has come down in cost, it doesn't cost, the
Exactly.
cost of a house to make a record.
There's not that much outlay for the music for the publisher to put out initially.
Exactly. But, contracts are still, there's still money involved.
Right.
But the fact that they're more open to that, I thought was very, very interesting in terms of artists.
And that's a trend that you're seeing with many more major companies.
Many more major companies where they're willing to take on artists or bands who don't have record deals.
Yeah, and one of the other areas that I thought this conversation was very interesting with Jeremy was, how does an artist or songwriter get on Jeremy's radar at Concord? And you guys, again, if you got to listen to these episodes because he's giving you gold here. There's research, things that are popping up across Spotify or TikTok or Instagram. There's, a lot of word of mouth. He still relies on more of that than maybe anything is through a friend or a songwriter or an artist that we work with or a manager. That is still, he thinks, a real strong basis of how we're assigning things. And I think that that's a really great insight into how artists are being discovered. There's no path, there's no set path to success. There could be 100 different roads you can take here. It's a matter of which one ends up falling for you. So it's exciting because you can see from an actual professional, a real top professional, about how they're kind of basically vetting what acts they're getting into their conscious.
Absolutely. But the one thing I do want to add to what you're saying, Eric, is that it's very important, because he also mentioned that, today the artists, the bands, they have to do a lot more work on
Right.
their own prior to, it's not enough just to be a great writer and, we're going to have full faith and you have to be
Exactly.
signed. That used to be the model.
There's got to be somewhat of a track record.
Somewhat of a track record. You have to be getting, a cut, or there has to be relationships, or somebody in his world of managers, other co-writers, other producers has to be talking about you, which means that there has to be some kind of visibility or some kind of relationship there. So, I don't want to leave the impression that all you need to be is very talented and of course people will sign you. It starts with great music, as our friend Don Gerson used to always say. But today, in terms of getting a deal, you have to put a lot of that kind of time, effort, and energy into building that career for yourself prior to getting signed.
Hey, insiders, thanks so much for tuning into this episode. We really appreciate it. To get show notes, links, and everything that was mentioned during this interview, head on over to our official website at MUBUTV.com/podcast/show notes. If you're enjoying the content and what we're doing here on the show, please subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts from. And don't forget to rate and review our show at iTunes. 5-star reviews are always welcome and help to ensure that our podcast stands out on the top-rated and new and noteworthy charts on iTunes and our space. You can also find us at social media at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter X, all ending with the handle MUBUTV, which is spelled MUBUTV. Don't forget to catch our flagship show, the MUBUTV Music Business Insider video series, airing every week on YouTube at youtube.com/MUBUTV. This show was produced and created by Rich Ezra and Eric Knight. Theme music by Disciples of Babylon, and be sure to tune in next week for another episode of the MUBUTV Music Business Insider Podcast.